What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Bonus Footage Podcast. I am your host, Boyder. I'm sitting in a park, so if you hear people, birds, people climbing trees, it's because I'm in a park. And we're at Westchester University, beautiful Westchester University, where our guest attended school just 2 years ago. Currently, he is an Emmy award-winning associate producer for the show Hard Knocks on HBO. He's also produced for CBS Sports, Nickelodeon, ESPN, NFL Network. He's got a bunch of his own independent content series going on. He's a storyteller, top to bottom, writes, shoots, films, directs, produces, you name it, right? The guy makes stuff happen. You meet him and you say, that person is going to be something. If he isn't already something, he's going to become something. So, like all of our guests, I'm super grateful of his time, but there's something special about someone sitting down and sharing their knowledge in the effort to help us out. So hopefully you gain something from this interview the same way I did. And without further ado, I welcome our guest, Courtland Bragg. All right. You want to start this?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
All right. I'm sitting here with Courtland Bragg. Bragg, what's up, man?
What's going on, man?
Bragg with 2 G's?
2 G's. 2 G's. So I always tell people, it's brag like you brag too much. 2 G's, though.
Now, that's such a good name. Did your parents know that you were going to go into broadcasting or journalism and have your name out there in the public?
No, they did not. And no one in my family is in journalism as well, in storytelling. So when I started to put the pieces together of what I wanted to do, and then I looked at my name, I was like, wow, that's because everyone used to say you have a unique name. Yeah. And when I was younger, and I didn't realize it, but maybe that was a seed of... They
were planting the seed that it needs to be seen.
Right. So Courtland Bragg, and then just going off the pun of brag, there's so many that I can do, and it's very unique. So I'm taking it and running with it.
Welcome to the podcast. Let's do an official intro. You are an Emmy award-winning producer for NFL films.
Yes.
Hard Knocks. You've produced stuff for CBS. Mm-hmm. Name some others for me.
ESPN. FS1. NBCSN. Nickelodeon. And NFL International. That's pretty much it. Mostly the sports networks.
And these are stories you're creating, shooting, documenting, editing, producing.
Yes. How it works is every show has its own style, and every show has its own style, and we have different demographics, target demographics, and audiences. So Hard Knocks is more up pace. We can be uncensored because it is a premium channel, HBO, opposed to Hey Rookie, Welcome to NFL, where it's a younger audience. We can't use profanity, and we tailor it in our writing and our storytelling to different audiences. So every story is a little bit different.
Now, for the people that are watching you on camera here, they can probably tell you're a young dude. Yeah. So how have you had all this work? How do you have this award? And how old are you?
I'm 24.
24. So what? Yeah. 1-2 years out of college?
Approaching 3 in May next month.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's still a little sliver of time.
Yeah, man.
How does that happen?
It's a great question. It's hard work, man.
Yeah.
When I was at Westchester, and it's ironic that we are doing my first podcast at Westchester University.
We're at a park.
At a park, it's different.
So yeah, if you hear people playing basketball, girls walking by, we were legitimately sitting on a picnic bench at a park. And just so you know, for people that are watching, Cortland said that I need to spice up the background a little bit, and I appreciated that producer's direction. So I'll give him a little credit for the next one once I do spice it up back there. But keep going. I interrupted.
Yeah. So just when I was a student here at Westchester, I had a dream, and you can't stop a kid from dreaming. And I just wanted to reach my full potential, but most importantly, just make something of myself, especially being here at Westchester. I wanted to be a distinguished alumni, and from a young age, I told myself, you can do this. So a lot of what I encourage people is to believe in yourself from an early age. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. It's so cliche, but it's true, because when I was a senior, I had a dream.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to get there, but I just knew that I just had to work hard. So being 24 years old, man, and it's still crazy. It gives me goosebumps when you say 24-year-old Emmy award-winning producer. It's amazing because
it has a good ring to it.
Oh my gosh! But I tell you what, man, it's an honor, and it's such a blessing to be able to have that credibility, because never in my wildest dreams, man, never did I think that at 24 years old I'd be able to do the things I've been able to do.
This quickly.
Oh my, no way, man. I didn't even know what an Emmy was in college. I knew what an Oscar and a Grammy was, but what was an Emmy? And to get that a year and a half out of college, man, it's amazing.
Coming out hot.
It's amazing. But I tell you what, my story is tangible, man. If I can do it, so can you. And it's so true, because I'm not the most gifted, most talented person at NFL Films. There's so many talented people there, but I just worked hard. You know, it's deeper than me, and I take that as I have people I have to inspire. You know, those that I want to hear my story. That if I can do it, so can you. Because I wasn't gifted with special talents. It was just that work ethic.
I want to unpack a lot of what you just said there. So the one thing is, you said that you weren't totally gifted. Was there any element of that you learned through athletics that you applied to your career now?
Most definitely. So there's a rumor out there that I'm short. And
really?
Yeah, man. I know you guys can't see me, but I heard this rumor that I'm short. But unfortunately, that rumor is true. So I'm only 5'7".
It's subjective.
Only 5'7", 5'7.5" on a good day. On my license, it says 5'8". So
wow.
Let's go with that. But all my life, I had to work hard. I was always the shortest guy on the field, shortest guy on the basketball court. Even here at Westchester University. Yes, man. I was the shortest guy. So I always had to go the extra mile to get noticed. Yeah. And I always had to fight. So having that persistence and resiliency, I transitioned that into my career, that I know what I want and I desire to achieve is going to be very difficult, but I just have to work hard. Have I not? In my past, I've worked through hard work. You can overachieve anything. So I transitioned that into my projects, into my storytelling. And yes, this is tough, but work hard. Get it done, man. Find a way.
It's possible.
Oh, yeah. It all goes down to, and I tell a lot of people, how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Because especially as young millennials, we say that with our mouths. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to achieve this. But we say that with our mouth.
Not your heart.
It's in here. It's in here. So it's how bad do you want it? And I learned that at a young age, being a young college student, a young student athlete, of, all right, how bad do you want it? You want to achieve this? You say it with your mouth. Now follow that with your heart.
Now, one of the first things I noticed about you, I came in and watched you speak at Westchester, and I was like, man, that guy he walks and he speaks with purpose. It's clear that you know what you want, and you're here to get what you want, in a good way, and lift people up on the journey.
Right.
What advice can you give someone to put them in the direction where they feel like they're going in the right direction? Is it? I mean, it's. You're talking to college students here, and they're just out of college or just out of high school. They're leaving and going into the real world. How do they know if they're on the right path or not?
Man, that's a very difficult thing to find out.
Yeah.
Of what, in a lot of college students, even I face that. What am I supposed to do for the rest of my life? I'm 18 to 24 or 23 years old. What am I supposed to do? And I encourage you, there's no right way of finding your purpose, but only you can find that out.
Yeah.
But it's the person that looks back in that mirror when you wake up in the morning. And I encourage and challenge people, you have to invest in yourself. You have to really dig deep inside of you to see who you are.
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes is, the two most important days of your life is the day you were born and the day you find out why. Now, we know why we were born.
I just got the chills when you said that. It's true, though. It's true.
So true. We know the day we were born, but why? And the great Les Brown once said, the richest place in the world is the graveyard. And what he meant by that is, a lot of people live their lives not reaching their full purpose, not taking that risk, not finding who they are, not finding that cure, or just really embodying who they are and their talents that they were gifted with. And then they go to work, they work a job they don't like. They live the life and never reach their full potential because they never take that risk, or they never really dig deep, and they die. And unfortunately, all the talents are just in the graveyard. So as young people, it is the prime time to really go out there and chase your dreams. It's the time to be selfish and
You
say,
can experiment.
oh my gosh, it's the time now. What do you have to lose? Because it's with the emergence of social media, and we see so many things. We see the successful people, and it's so accessible. We can see it through social media, and we can dream, and we want that. But success doesn't work like that. You have to really tailor who you are, cultivate your talents and your gifts, and go out there and chase it and learn humility. So I challenge people, spend time with yourself. You know, we can spend 2 to 3 hours on the phone, on the internet, but how about investing in your mind, reading some books, taking some classes, getting outside your comfort zone, and really figuring out, oh, this is what I like. Oh, this is what I'm good at.
Or this is what I don't like, and paying attention to that and making a move. In your one talk, you spoke about how you went to a job that I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't for you. And you noticed that right away, and it made you push even harder for what you wanted to do. Yeah,
and I'll speak on that. So I was fortunate enough to work with the NFL, but unfortunately they don't offer full-time positions, especially for young people. It's
contracting jobs.
Exactly. And the seasons are only for a certain amount of time throughout the year. So you have to take a break. So that happened to me. I had to work seasonal. I worked for that first NFL season, and I had to figure out what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
The rest of the time, yeah.
Because unfortunately, when the terrible side of graduating is the student loan. So you have bills
right in front of your face.
Right in front of your face.
Yeah. So as soon as that graduation party's done, it's like, oh, by the way,
let me get some. And some banks and lenders are not as lenient of deferring payment. So you got to find a way, right? So I had to work a job, and I love the essence of educators and teaching, but it's not where I wanted to be. Yeah. So I was a substitute teacher, and for 6 months, it was very humbling for me.
Yeah.
And I was not happy with where I was.
More because it was pulling you from your highest point of impact, which is creating stories, documenting.
Exactly. I just wasn't where I wanted to be. You know, working at the NFL, I was exposed, and I believe in seeing is believing. So I was able to see the people I wanted to be like, and I was around it. And to actually transition into the educational system just to make ends meet, it was very difficult because it was humbling. Because I woke up one day I was working for NFL, the next day I was in the school system.
Yeah.
And although, don't get me wrong, I love mentoring, I love helping out the kids, but I just wasn't happy where I was. And it wasn't my destiny to be a substitute teacher. That's all. I love educators, but so it was humbling. But I tell you what, man, it was the turning point in my life because I learned what a lot of millennials don't have, which it means patience.
Patience.
We're the microwavable generation, and we want things so fast.
And self-awareness, knowing, hey, like, I really want to experiment. This is the time to do it. I'm going to try to get back to NFL films. So in your journey back to NFL films, what did that look like?
Man, it was crazy. And I'm going to be transparent with you and to the viewers. I was flirting with depression.
Okay.
And that's
during that period before,
during that humility. And I was just very low. I just wasn't happy, and it's important to find happiness, and only you can find that. Only we can determine what happiness is, and I wasn't happy with my life. So with that humility, I had to learn how to get to where I wanted to be. So I was able to reach deep into myself and say, all right, well, where am I? Where do I want to go, and how do I get there? And I had to continue trusting the journey, and that is the mantra that I live by. Trust your journey, because it is a journey and it's going to be tough at times, but as long as you trust it wholeheartedly, everything works out. Because that same year that I was a teacher is the same year that I got full-time at NFL Films, and it is the same year I won an Emmy. So my life transformed 360
from that
trusting, but just of how things work, of trusting it, because right behind that door, and I didn't know, my life was going to change. And then I've traveled the country. I've traveled outside of the country for work, and I've interviewed Dan Marino, and I've been to the Super Bowl. I've been to the past, but that all happened in that same year that I was unhappy. So I learned that, wow, everything worked perfectly. It all is going to come full circle as long as you trust it.
Yeah.
And there's a saying, The race isn't given to the swift or to the strong, but to those who can endure to the end. Can you endure to the end?
Can you go through those down periods,
valleys, and finish the race?
Can you trust that around the next bend, going around the mountain, the finish line's there? And like, hey, you were that close. Some people turn back.
Right. My favorite. There was a meme, and there was a picture of a guy. I'm sure you saw it. And that guy was chiseling the rock, and there was like a diamonds around it.
Yeah.
And he was so close, but he turned around. He just gave up. It was a little too tough. And then there was another guy who was going through the same trajectory, and he kept on chiseling, and he looked like he was going to get it. So it's the same thing. You cannot give up. Trust it. And I encourage you guys. Yes, it's tough.
It's possible.
It is possible. You're looking at a living example, and anything is possible. You just got to continue enduring to the end.
Now, you interviewed Dan Marino.
That was my first interview ever for NFL Films.
How did they?
Oh my God!
How does that happen,
man? So
and tell me how it happened and what it was like. Well, tell me about the process, how you prepped. I want to know about this interview.
It was amazing, man. So we were doing this special Super Bowl 50 special for players that played in a Super Bowl, and they were going back to their high schools to teach, talk to the players, which is awesome. And I was fortunate enough to be cultivated and nourished by some of our top directors at NFL Films, and I'm so thankful that they saw something in me to teach me. So I went on about 3 shoots throughout the country, and then one day they said, "All right, Courtland, in so many words, it's your turn. You know, you're going to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Time to shine."
And I'm like, okay, well, who am I interviewing? Dan Marino.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, hold on, the Dan Marino?
Like a cousin? Right? What's up?
The Dan Marino? Dan Marino. So I was thinking to myself, wow, I made my first interview with Dan Marino. So fly out to Pittsburgh, and I talked to him, and it's crazy. And one thing I learned is you have to believe in yourself. And I'll tell you, I was very nervous talking to Dan Marino. I'm 22 at the time, and it's me, Dan Marino, the principal of the school, and they're like, "Okay, Courtland, well, what do you need us to do?" And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm standing in front of Dan Marino telling him what I need him to do.
Yeah.
But I had to learn, Courtland, you've worked hard to get to this moment.
You're supposed to be here.
You're supposed
enough.
to own it. So, and that comes with confidence. So I just took a deep breath and say, "Okay, Dan, I need you to do this and this, and we're going to talk about this."
Yeah.
And it was awesome because Dan was looking to me for direction. "Hey, Court, is this good? This good? Was that good?" So, man, it was truly a blessing, and it was
because you're the professional there. You know, he's not. You know, I mean, I know you probably does some commentating, but you're running that show, and you're in charge of a Hall of Famer.
I'm the storyteller. I see the shots and how it's supposed to look on TV, and it was great, man. It was a great experience, and man, from there, everything, the rest was history. So,
how did you prepare for those questions? You got a little printout like I have here?
It's similar to your way of attacking it is learning who you're interviewing. So doing your research, because you have the credibility. You're the interviewer. You're in charge. But it's important to know what you're saying, because you don't want to give out facts that factual information, things that are not true. Because then you lose credibility with that, you know. So you're the professional, you're expected to know everything, and it's a conversation, but you're in control. So it's just about studying the greats, and I encourage, especially those interviewers, study those who you see are the great interviewers. Diane Sawyer, Bryant Gumbel, Anderson Cooper. Just throwing a couple of names, but you watch how they interview Oprah Winfrey. How they interview the great celebrities, how they can get those tough answers out. And that's something I do. I spend time, one of my favorite interviewers is Bryant Gumbel. And some people like him, some people think it's a little much, but I love Bryant's, how he's, and a lot of, how he's, Andrea Kramer, how they're able to get those answers out of those athletes and celebrities. And it's just studying your craft and studying the greats.
Let's dig into that. What is one thing you learned from studying Bryant Gumbel? It's a tactic that I can use tomorrow on my next, or right now.
Well,
is it easy to dissect like that, or?
Well, a couple of things. When I look at Bryant, I like his swag.
Okay. How he carries himself.
How he carries himself. When Bryant comes on, he's crossing his legs. He has the suit on, and
so you're studying everything.
I'm studying everything. See, I like to think of myself as a gentleman. And I like to dress as a gentleman. Even here at Westchester, I always used to dress up for the job I wanted. But now that's a part of me of always looking nice, looking like a gentleman, dressing for the job you want. And I see Brian, and I envision myself in the suit, a 3-piece suit. But just coming on, he just has a nice his persona and the swag he has. But the thing as an interviewer is how he's able to garner those questions out. How he's direct. When somebody's maybe beating around the bush, what do you mean by that? Things of one thing I learned from Brian Gumbel is his follow-up questions. And that's one thing of being a storyteller. And when you're trying to get an answer out of someone, well, they're not answering the way you want. A simple question is, well, what do you mean by that? Or how did you feel about that? Can get that question. And that's one thing I learned is how to follow up from using a follow-up question just to get that answer.
And I got to be very honest. You were honest with me earlier. Part of the reason why I wanted to even have this interview is because you're a professional, and I want to get better at breaking down interviews, being able to ask people questions. Sometimes I get a little talky, so it's not about me though. My name's on the podcast, but I'm sitting with a guest, so it's about them. And you gave me a couple tips before too. Before the camera was even on, he was like, "Hey, you always have a backup option to record audio." So we got my iPhone recording audio. We got the 2 microphones recording. We got the camera recording. Right. Is there anything else to this general? What you're looking at right here that I could make this podcast better, or more prepared, or?
No, I think you're doing awesome. The audio is set up very well. Hopefully in post it will sound well. I would say maybe have something that stands out as far as maybe a banner.
Little
I like this location. It's different. It's all about being different. But some type of maybe in the backdrop, maybe a logo. Somebody tuning into this. Well, what is this? But a logo might just be able to say, "Oh, I'm watching this type of podcast." Other than that, no, I think it's awesome. Maybe have a second angle.
Yeah. Oh, for the camera, the camera.
Maybe this angle and another angle.
And I like the park atmosphere here.
Right.
You got people on the front porches, people yelling in the basketball game. I heard a podcast where they did it in like a sauna or a steam room or something.
Really? That must have been intense.
I know, and I was like, the whole time though, I'm imagining these 2 like men in the sauna, which is an interesting thing to imagine, but they had a great conversation, but you put yourself in, even though it's just audio. I didn't say it. You put yourself in their shoes, and you're just sitting there hanging out, like overhearing this conversation in a sauna. I thought it was pretty cool. So hopefully we get the same vibe here. All right. So what makes for a good story? Like, what's one thing that you see that makes you want to dig deeper?
One thing I learned is every story, and it's so like it's a dumb moment, but it's true. Every story has a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah,
and that's one thing. Simple. It's that simple, but it does have to have a beginning, middle, and end. And I see a lot of storytellers out there, and I ask myself, well, what was the ending, or what was the story? And it has to have a theme.
What was the conflict? What was this internal struggle?
Yeah, exactly. And not every story has a problem. There's some feel-good stories. But every story has a beginning, middle, and end. And also, it should have a theme. So there should be something beyond the story. What is the theme? What do you want the viewer to know of that story? And that's something as I'm creating a football story, working with the NFL, we primarily just do football stories. What is the theme? What is the theme of this game? Is it redemption? Is it blowout? Is it David versus Goliath?
Yeah.
Is it the underdog story? What is it? Well, I have to portray that, and that stems from what I do is writing. I write, direct, I edit, and I produce. So in my writing to carry the story, there has to be a theme. Is it the youth? Is it a youth movement?
So then you ask questions that are gonna be aligned with that theme.
Yes.
You're gonna pull that out of the subjects, the environment.
Yes. So tomorrow I'm actually going on a flight to Green Bay, Wisconsin, and for a show that we're doing for Amazon. And the theme of this shoot and of the whole story is how home, the essence of this team started at one place and then they moved to another place, and how this one particular player, he started this season at one home, and then now he has to find another one. So the theme is home and finding the actual foundation of, all right, this is where. So in me attacking the interview of talking to him and his wife is, what does home mean to you? because you guys have bounced around. You know, what is the importance of finding a home? And
Uh-huh.
not just so much a four-wall foundation, but the essence of finding a foundation of this is my home, this is mine, and this is where I can start to sprout, you know, and he's his wife is pregnant. So what does that mean to them of now you're starting a family in a new home that you guys started differently last year? So it's always just finding angles to find that fame and push your thing.
And that's a theme that any viewer can relate to. People can understand immediately home. What that when you ask that person that question, they're kind of answering it in their heads to themselves.
At least that's what we try to get them to feel.
Yeah.
And think about the most original stories of time. You know, they all have a theme. There's something. There's a subliminal message. There's something deeper than a story, and that's the beauty of a story. It all has to have a theme around it. And think of your favorite stories. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. You know, it was different.
Setup,
there's something,
and then there's an
you can't
end.
lie.
Yeah,
you know, people you're gonna lose trust, and when you really need
themes.
somebody, they're not gonna be there. That's a theme. It's a lesson.
Yeah.
So
working on Hard Knocks, to dig into that,
mm-hmm.
you were an associate producer.
Yes.
Can you break down the behind, or give me a time frame of how long it took to shoot that show? Was it all, and kind of the whole concept and theme of the show for people that haven't or aren't familiar?
Yes. So it's a 6-week show. Our crew. So we have a team in the field and team back at NFL Films, and the team in the field is about 30 people, and I would say the team at NFL Films is about 25 to 30 people.
On the ground.
And then back at Films producing it. So it's a very tough show. Sorry. It's 7 days a week. The team in the field is working 14-hour days, and they're shooting about 100 hours of film a week. So the team back at Films
is going through
it has to go through that film
oh my goodness.
and filter the best stuff. So then filter it even more to find a storyline and then put it in an hour-long show.
Wow.
So very intense show. It's one of our widely known and widely successful shows at Films. It's very tough, and a lot of.
I feel like it's a flagship show.
It's definitely a flagship show. We've won our many Emmys from that show. I've won my Emmy on that show.
Yeah.
And a lot of the young people work on the show because it's demanding. I mean, it's
energy
tough.
out there.
It's very tough.
So
man.
You're on the ground, right?
I am not.
Okay.
So I am back home at Films. Our more experienced directors are on the ground. You know, one day I hope to be on the ground, get that shot.
So you're going through the footage, making the stories.
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So me, along with a team of producers. It's not just me, but it's about, I would say, about 20 of us.
And what's the turnaround time? Is it pretty much the next week?
Yeah. So we shoot at 100 hours, and when I'm logging it and we're going through the footage, we're always a day behind. But we'll usually finish by Friday. The show airs on Tuesday, but we'll have to be finished.
Holy crap.
Yeah, we'll finish on Friday, and then Friday, Saturday, we'll have to start putting our segments together. And we all have a category, and that's all going into detail of that. And then Monday, we got to be finished because it airs on Tuesday. But we have to be finished to make sure it's approved and everybody is on board with it.
And you get all of the footage on what day?
Every day there's
okay, it's all coming in. So you're breaking it down every day, and then it needs to be in Friday, Saturday.
Correct.
Okay. Now, oh man,
it's tough.
Man, I think about this footage right here. I gotta edit. You gotta edit hours. And hours.
It's not just. It's a team of us, but it's long days, man. It's tough. 7 days a week, but. You know, we have a system. The thing about we're very organized. We have a system that we have mastered. So we're pretty efficient in how we can go through all that footage and have a system and who's doing what and still be able to pump out good content. And we've been doing that show for about a decade now, more than a decade.
Now, what is one of the most challenging things you've had to overcome working on that show?
On Hard Knocks?
On Hard Knocks.
It's mentally stressful. And it's not for everyone to be able to work on that show because 7 days a week for 6 weeks, there is no breaks. we need you. You know, we need every man on board.
And
so,
there has to be harmony between all of those men
yes,
on board.
Yes. And the show heads and the guys in charge do an amazing job of just leading us and communicating and make sure everybody's on board. And it's one of the best shows and one of the greater experiences that I've been fortunate enough to be on.
So as far as story goes, is there someone saying, hey, this story isn't good, or this story needs more of this to be good?
Yeah, you think about the target demographic, you know, what will people care about? We've done Hard Knocks for many years, so you see there's a formula. We're giving you an in-depth look into an NFL team. So, and when we're doing it every year, it's more challenging. But we have to, as we shift our target audience and we're getting a different audience, we have to tailor it to them for them to care and buy into the story. And it's tough because you don't know what the stories are going in. You can say, oh, well, this guy's like this, and maybe we can talk about this. But as a show goes on and the footage comes in, you only can tell a story based off your footage.
Yeah.
So the footage may be different than what you went into. So you kind of have to tailor your story around the footage, and the footage speaks for itself.
Yeah. And there is a natural story in that theme. You know,
everything.
Guys trying to make an NFL football team. You know, you're there. I still feel bad for some guys that got cut like 7 years ago.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
So outside of that show, what is one of the most let's say on the ground as a producer, interviewer, you're getting the story yourself. What is one of the most challenging things working with a subject?
You never know what's going to happen. The subject may not want to be cooperative. They may show up late, or the PR guy doesn't want to cooperate. There's things that happen that you have no control over, and that's a challenging thing because you ask yourself, well, what am I supposed to do?
You're in the moment.
You're in the moment.
You have to decide.
Exactly. And academia can't teach you how to deal with these things, and no one can. Only through experience you can learn how to deal with people. And that's one thing I'm still learning. I'm very young. I mean, I'm a baby at NFL Films. But as I'm in the field and I get more experience, I learn more. Every shoot, I always learn something different. And I always try to make myself available and be reliable for my company. So when they ask me to go out, because I want to get that experience. I'm hungry. I want to learn and grow and be one of the next great storytellers and directors at NFL Films. So, but I learn as I go each time. And there's always something different, but you win some, you lose some, and you learn. You always have to find a silver lining in everything.
Yeah. And maybe when you're done a project, ask yourself, even if it went really well, how could I have done that better? And not just being complacent with, oh, I got an award now. But you're 24, you're trying to do this for a long time and make a positive impact on a lot of different people.
Yes.
So if you are you a reader of sorts? I feel like you're a reader of sorts.
And I need to do more reading, man. But I am a reader.
So if you were to, I like to think about kids going through a transitional period in their life. So high school to college to the quote unquote real world.
Right.
And I had a lot of confusion. Right. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I went to college for something that I didn't end up doing at all. And I always think, like, how could that have been reversed? How could I have spent those years dumping into the stuff that my strengths, my purposes, the things that I want to contribute to this world? So specifically for those kids going through those transitional periods, leaving high school or leaving college, what book would you give?
Recommendation?
That would help them for this next chapter. Yeah,
there's two books that I think about. One by Paul Coelho called The Alchemist. I like that one.
Man.
You like that? I knew he clicked when I met you.
Yeah.
The Alchemist is great because it's about...
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have answered that for you. I got excited. Excited.
It's all right. It talks about the protagonist finding himself. You know, it's important. And everything that he ever was discovering was right there under the tree. It was right there where he started. But he had to go on that journey to find those, and it applies to all of our lives. Yes. Alchemist is a great read if you really look at the themes in that story. Also, there's a book I'm reading right now that I'm so thankful I came across it. It's by Darren Roberts. It's called Calling Audible, and it's a story of a Harvard law student who took a leap of faith to be an NFL coach. He completely left Harvard Law School, and he served as an intern for the Kansas City Chiefs. And the way he documents his life, it all talks about taking risk and doing whatever it takes to achieve the unachievable. And I'm still reading that, but as I'm watching his story, I'm like rooting for him, and I'm learning things of Court. You have to take risk and take a leap of faith because it's essential to get to where you want to be. And I'm learning that in Darren's, and I would definitely recommend those dreamers, storytellers, and those looking to reach their full potential. Calling Audible, it shows you that taking a leap of faith is not such a bad idea.
And you spoke about themes earlier, and I feel like there's been a theme to this podcast interview, and it's been trusting the uncertainty, trusting that in order to get to where you want to go,
right,
there's going to be some risk involved, and you're going to have to trust yourself in that process. And
yeah, man.
And it's a beautiful thing, man. I'm grateful that and we got to shout out our friend Chase.
Oh, Chase.
Right?
Oh my gosh, Chase.
Because
it's my boy.
Because he doesn't like to be in front of the camera. So maybe Courtland, I think that we should I want to get him on this podcast.
We got
eventually,
to, man. I would love.
Because he's one of the most talented, hardworking people I know.
I just had to say something about Chase. I feel forever indebted to Chase because Chase and I were classmates in college, and long story short, we collaborated, and he saw something in me. And still to this day, Chase is allowing me to fulfill my dreams of being a storyteller as we produce stories to brag about. And that's my own digital docuseries that Chase produces, edits, and he's I cannot do it without him. And I'm so thankful to Chase because his eye and his ability. And I always tell him, man, like one day this is going to blow up. And I'm speaking into existence. Yeah. Stories to brag about is going to blow up. And Chase, you get it all, man. You get all the credit, man, because you've helped me so much, man. And I'm so thankful for Chase. And to see what he's doing, man, at a young age, like the sky's the limit for him. And for both of us, all three of us. But I'm just so thankful for Chase. Chase, if you're watching this, thank you, man. Thank you forever believing in me. He doesn't like, when I try to tell him, like, yo, bro, like, thank you. He hates credit. He hates it. Like, he's like, he shoots me off, like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, nah, you need to know I appreciate you, man.
He works so hard. He's so talented.
Oh, my gosh, man.
Yeah, Chase, we love you. Guru Media Group.
Guru Media Group, man.
Yeah, if he doesn't, next time you're on here, maybe after the stories to brag about blows up.
Yes.
Well, if he's not on, we'll just put like his little avatar face here. Yeah, we'll just put it here so people can see him.
It's awesome. Yeah, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate you so much for coming on the podcast. I appreciate you for putting your heart into the world with all the stories you tell. There's a little piece of you in all of those. And like I said, I want you on this podcast again in the future because
speaking into existence.
I know that there's going to be a lot more you can contribute to the stories that our listeners are interested in. One more question:
mm-hmm.
If you could write any message on a billboard, what would it be?
I think it goes back to just the mantra: trust your journey, trust it. And then the next thing I would say is, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to be successful? And you say it with your mouth, well, go and get it. Go chase your dream.
Yeah. Beautiful. And where can we find you on the internet worlds?
Yeah, so you can follow me at Court Bragg on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Court Bragg. 2 G's. 2 G's. Yeah, man. And I just, my social media, I just aim to inspire, man. I want to inspire action, that you see my story, you see me, and you say, man, if he can do it, so can I. And, I want to change the world and make the world a better place. And it's just whoever I can touch to just do that. Now we have 2 and 3 people trying to make a change in this world and, see what we can do. But I just want to inspire action, man. And if you see my social media, you'll see that. And you'll see me in some suits, man. I like dressing up.
Yeah. I see some like future GQ.
Oh, man. That would be the dream, man.
GQ interviews that you're gonna rock down the line. Man. And the shout out to your parents too. Your dad was cracking me up at that at the talk. You guys a sense of humor running your family? Man,
my dad's a funny dude, man. We do, man. Okay. He cracks up on me all the time. But man, at the end of the day, man, I just want to make them proud.
Yeah,
that's it. I do it for them, man. And I just want to make my family proud, my family name proud. And but yeah, my parents are awesome. They've always been supportive. And I just want to keep on going. It's for them, man. It's not for me. I don't get the glory. I want. It's not about me. It's about others.
Yeah. They gave you that beautiful smile.
Oh,
and that helps.
I appreciate it.
So you got to give some credit to your parents.
Appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yo, that was a doozy of a podcast. Courtland, thank you so much I hope we get to work together at some point in the future. If not, I'll admire your work from afar. Guys, thanks for listening. Subscribe, like, share, all the stuff that, you're supposed to say at the end of these things. And have a great rest of your day. Bye.